With the recent announcement of Tomb Raider Catalyst and Legacy of Atlantis, it seems the developers finally dare to unify the Tomb Raider timelines. For those who aren't experts in the franchise's history, Tomb Raider had 2 reboots and is thus split into 3 timelines. The Classic Era that contains the first 6 games, the Lao Era that contains Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld, and the Survivor Era that contains the latest 3 games. Due to the rivalries between the fandoms of these 3 timelines, many want to put the franchise back in one piece to leave this animosity behind and start anew with a Lara Croft that has lived through all these adventures, which might finally happen, yet some think this task is impossible. That's alright, I'm here to tell you that it is possible, because I have done it. Let's not waste any more time and start the unified timeline. On February 14th, 1968, the daughter of Richard and Amelia Croft is born, Lara Croft. This is the official birth date of the classic Lara, which will serve as the base of this unified timeline. While Lara and her mother travel by plane, they crash in Nepal. Seeking shelter, they find a temple with an Excalibur embedded in a monument. Lara touches it and a portal opens. Her mother tries to communicate through the portal, draws the sword, and disappears. Although her mother's disappearance will be a trauma for Lara, she is also surprised to find herself enjoying surviving under these harsh circumstances, and she decides that this is how she wants to spend her life. As we can see in the manual for the first game, in the original timeline, this happened to Lara not at age 9, but at 21, and only her crashed. Her mother had nothing to do with it. However, this origin has never been shown on screen and would contradict the rest of our timeline, so it's been removed and we're left with this flashback from Legend. Lara, now an apprentice to the famous archaeologist Werner von Croy, accompanies him on an expedition to Angkor Wat, Cambodia, where they find the Iris. Although von Croy teaches Lara to respect and handle tombs and their relics with care, he disregards his own lesson and tries to take the Iris without caution, ending up buried alive while Lara barely escapes. Although von Croy survived, his leg was injured, leaving him with chronic pain, and he blamed Lara for not coming back for him, while she believed he was dead. Lara is spending a vacation at Winston's house in Ireland. She overhears a conversation between Winston and Father Dunstan about a nearby island being cursed and full of demons. Duncan sails to exorcise them, and Lara, eager for adventure, sneaks onto his boat. After finding the bestiary, Lara and Dunstan exorcise the worst of the demons, the Knight Vertiret. It's not very clear when the following events take place. We only know that they occur while Lara is in college. Lara leads an expedition in Peru, where they discover a tomb but also a strange smoke monster that devours almost all of her companions. As with von Croy, Lara must flee for her life while her friend Amanda drowns. Amanda manages to escape using a gem that allows her to control the monster, but she will hold a grudge against Lara for the rest of her life. After losing von Croy, Lara found another mentor in Conrad Roth and accompanied him on an expedition to Chile, where they discovered a jade box. It's a bit odd that Lara has 2 mentors, but hey, one in high school, another in college. It's plausible. On another expedition, the ship Lara is traveling on, the Endurance, is shipwrecked on an island cursed by a Japanese queen goddess Himiko. Lara manages to kill her for good, ending the curse, but she is forever scarred, not only due to losing most of her friends, but also due to experiencing her first adventure in which she suffers both physically and emotionally, and had to kill others to survive. This is a turning point in the timeline. At some point, Lara has to go from being an odd but innocent young girl to the lethal woman who kills hundreds of people without batting an eye. Treating this game as that moment is the best way to handle the timeline, and I think the developers knew it, since Lara is the same age here as she was when she crashed in the Himalayas in the classic timeline. That same year, Lara competes with mercenaries Larson and Pierre to open a magical door in Rome and obtain the Philosopher's Stone. It may seem odd to go from the traumatized Lara of the Survivor timeline to the cool, confident Lara of the classic timeline, but with Tomb Raider Chronicles, a press kit was released containing letters written by Lara Croft, one for each adventure recounted in the game, and it tells us the exact year each one took place. The Rome chapter took place on July 15, 1989, which lets us place it directly after Tomb Raider 2013. A bit forced, yes, but once again, plausible. Following the legend of an immortal man, Lara finds his tomb, discovering that it is empty. Lara then travels to Siberia to find the Divine Fountain, an artifact capable of granting immortality. A secret military organization called Trinity is also after it, but with the help of a local tribe, Lara obtains the fountain and destroys it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Following Trinity's trail, Lara finds a dagger in Mexico, the key of Chakchel. By taking it, she unknowingly releases the god Kukulkan, triggering the apocalypse. To stop him, she must also acquire the silver box of Ixchel, venture into the lost city of Paititi, and confront Pedro Dominguez, the leader of Trinity, who seeks both the dagger and the box to destroy and remake the world in his image. After defeating Dominguez and wiping out Trinity once and for all, Lara performs a ritual that sacrifices Kukulkan himself, preventing the end of the world. And here I must mention something important. Except for classic Lara, her deceased parents have always been an important part of her story, but their stories are different in each timeline, so among the possible options, the best thing is for Lara's parents' story to be the one from the Legend timeline. That means we're ignoring everything related to their deaths in the Survivor timeline, including the chapter where Lara plays in the mansion as a child. It might seem too important to cut, but if you think about it, you can remove this part of the plot and it barely affects it, whereas you can't do the same with Legend and Underworld. So if at any point in this unified timeline it were necessary to reference the events of these games, it would have to be done without mentioning Richard Croft to avoid creating contradictions. Oh, and by the way, Shadow is supposed to take place 2 months after Rise, but I'm trying to space the games out by at least a year unless I have no other choice. I think saving the world every year is enough even for a fucking badass like Lara Croft. Charles Devereaux steals the jade box that Lara found in Chile, sending her on an adventure where she discovers 3 more boxes, each containing a total of 4 gems, whose combined power would trigger the apocalypse. Again, Devereaux obtains the 4 gems, but Lara takes them from him and returns them to the realm of the gods, preventing the end of the world. Lara is deceived by the philanthropist Mila into stealing a Yoruba mask. Turns out there's multiple of these masks, each granting a unique power, and Mila wants to use them to remake the world in her image. Alongside the original owners of these masks, Lara defeats Mila. Although the Netflix show continues from the Survivor timeline, clearly it ties into the classic Lara, giving her classic traits like her dual pistols, her blue outfit, her orange backpack, or her red sunglasses. And speaking of classic Lara, Lara infiltrates a Russian submarine seeking the Spear of Destiny. In the depths of the ocean, the mobster Sergei Mikhailov tries to use its power, making it explode and sinking the submarine. But Lara manages to escape thanks to Almirant Yellowfell, who sings with his crew. Now rich and famous, Lara is hired by Jacqueline Natla to find a piece of the Skion. After being betrayed by her, Lara seeks out the other 2 pieces and discovers that it is an Atlantean artifact and that Natla is an evil goddess who was imprisoned for trying to destroy humanity. Lara defeats Natla and destroys the Skion, blowing up one of the last vestiges of Atlantis so that it cannot be used by evil forces. After Natla's fall, Lara returns to Egypt and discovers the hidden Temple of the Cat, dedicated to the goddess Bastet. Lara discovers that an Italian mafia cult led by Marco Bartoli is seeking the Dagger of Xi'an, an ancient Chinese artifact. But she gets ahead of them and ends up exterminating the cult and acquiring the dagger. Shortly thereafter, she travels to Melnikov Island, where she confronts the Avalanche organization and finds the golden mask of the kingdom of Tornarsuk. With technical support from SIP, Lara infiltrates Von Croy Industries, a company founded by her former mentor, Von Croy, to steal the iris from him. If we use the official information from the Chronicles cards I mentioned earlier, this theft should have taken place in 1999, but it can't be. Yes, the creators themselves got it wrong, because Lara already had the iris in 1998 at her mansion in Tomb Raider 3. So forget this particular letter since it's literally wrong. This chapter takes place between Tomb Raider 2 and 3. Lara finds the Infada stone in India and runs into Dr. Wheeler, who informs her that this stone is one of 4 fragments of a meteorite. After finding the other 3 fragments and witnessing their powers, Lara refuses to return them to Wheeler and is forced to confront him in Antarctica, where the meteorite fell. Among his remains, Lara finds documents confirming the existence of a 5th artifact, the Hand of Rathmore. She learns that it was stolen by an old enemy, Sophia Lee, and fights her in France, recovering the hand. Lara ventures into the recently discovered temple where the evil sorcerer Quaxet was sealed within the Nightmare Stone. Her guide, Iliad, mortally wounded, begs Lara to destroy the stone. After descending into the depths of the temple and acquiring the crystal guarded by a basilisk, Lara destroys the Nightmare Stone, causing the temple to collapse, escaping with her life and the crystal. Yes, I'm even including the Game Boy games in this timeline. Don't say I didn't put in the work. While Lara was with her friend Jane at a museum in New York, thieves stole the pavot sword. Lara tries to stop them, but fails and gets cut by the blade. These thieves were a cult that seeks to resurrect the Dark Queen. Part of her spirit resides in the sword, and when Lara was cut by it, she was cursed. Her body will be used by the Queen as a catalyst to return to this world, killing her in the process. Lara hunts down the cult to recover the sword, breaks it, and frees herself from the curse. Up until now, I'd placed all the classic games in their release years, which isn't official but seems to have been the intention. In Tomb Raider 2, Lara refers to the events of the first game as having happened a year ago.
Welcome back. After that grueling business last year, I decided to build this assault course to hone my skills and learn some new ones.
But the Game Boy games came out in 2000 and 2001 respectively, when Lara was supposedly dead. They used Lara's design from the last revelation, so I'm placing them right here, before that game. A new passage is discovered in Tutankhamun's tomb, so Peter Stadther, editor of the Times newspaper, hires Lara to explore it. There, Lara finds the mask of Tutankhamun. Lara takes the Ankh of Horus from Set's tomb, accidentally freeing him from his prison. She takes responsibility and gathers the artifacts needed for a ritual to summon Horus, who can stop him. But her journey is complicated when Set initiates the apocalypse and possesses Von Croy. In the end, Lara fails. Set returns to Earth and destroys the armor of Horus, which was necessary for the ritual, but Lara manages to use the Ankh to seal him once more. Free from Set's control, Von Croy tries to help Lara escape the Temple of Horus, but he fails, and Lara is buried alive. Von Croy began an excavation to find her, but she barely managed to escape the temple, and would have died of exhaustion had the desert tribe led by the shaman Putai not rescued her. Technically speaking, this last part isn't official, it almost is. It was going to be told in Angel of Darkness, but like many other things, it was cut from the game. However, a large part of the fans found out about it and accepted it as a semi-official explanation for Lara's survival. The world thinks that Lara Croft is dead. Von Croy finds her backpack in the temple, but not her, discovering that she's alive somewhere. At some undetermined time, Lara abandons Putai's tribe and returns to society, but physically and mentally weakened by her close death experience, she abandons her adventures. Von Croy asks Lara for help with a task, fearing for his life. Lara rejects him. At that very moment, someone knocks her unconscious and kills Von Croy. Feeling guilty for treating him poorly in his final moments and wanted by the police as her mentor's killer, Lara returns to action. She discovers the Cabal, a group led by the Black Alchemist Peter von Eckhart, who seeks to gather the Obscura paintings to awaken the Sleeper, the last of the demonic Nephilim. Lara teams up with Curtis Strength, the last member of the secret Templar order Lux Veritatis, and they confront the Cabal. Even when the last of them, Corel, reveals himself to be a Nephilim and Von Croy's killer, Lara manages to destroy them all, including the Sleeper. Curtis, who apparently died in his battle against Boaz, seems to have survived, but he is missing. Lara keeps his weapon, and, apparently, begins searching for him. Damn, it hurts me to see this ending every time! The last time classic Lara was seen, she was fading into the darkness, leaving this story unfinished. Damn, let's hope Legacy of Atlantis brings her back. Lara also discovers the prophecy of the Tome of Ezekiel, which leads her to seek the Black Stone. She finds a tome that reveals the existence of 2 other stones, and learns that the Tech du Bores cult follows the tome's prophecy, whose end is the conclusion of humanity, and that the cult wants the stones to reawaken their master, the Grey Elder, and lead the conclusion. Lara obtains the 3 stones and finds the Tech du Bores base, killing them and what remained of the Grey Elder. After this, she discovers that the prophecy in the Tome of Ezekiel ends by saying that a young woman will prevent a premature attempt to end humanity. And now I'm going to talk about the movies! Yes, I'm even going to include them, although I can't show them because YouTube would shoot me in the face, so here's some remastered gameplay. Like the first 2 Game Boy games, I can't place them in their release years, but seeing the similarities between the movie and the second timeline, grouping them together seems like a smart idea. It might seem odd to go from the dark Angel of Darkness to these simpler, lighter adventures, but it makes sense. Angel of Darkness is about how Lara goes from her lowest point to her highest, from traumatized, alone, and without tools to stronger physically and mentally than she's ever been. It seems more than plausible that, after this, she'll recover and go back to her old ways. And well, as for the movies themselves, a couple of tweaks will be needed. Mostly that these events happen with Winston and Zip instead of Hillary and Bryce, who for some reason I don't understand are clearly just a young Winston and a white Zip with their names changed. No, seriously, if anyone knows why they pulled this weird stunt, please tell me. With renewed determination, Lara resumes her adventures alongside Winston and Zip. She ends up facing the leader of the Illuminati, Manfred Power. When they both clash in their quest to find the Triangle of Light, Lara kills Powell and saves her half-rival, half-friend Alex West. The MI6 hires Lara to find Pandora's box before Jonathan Rice, a biological weapons expert that wants to sell the plagues inside the box. Lara agrees with a condition. Her mercenary friend, Terry Sheridan, is released from prison to help her. The duo defeats Jonathan and take the box, but Terry betrays Lara, forcing her to kill him. 29 years later, Lara finally finds a clue about her mother's disappearance, a monument in Bolivia, identical to the one they found in Nepal. Lara discovers that the legendary sword Excalibur activates these monuments and gathers its pieces scattered around the world, confronting Amanda, her former college friend. Despite acquiring the sword and defeating Amanda and her smoke monster, she only manages to open the portal briefly before it collapses again, but she leaves knowing that her mother is somewhere in the afterlife. Following myths about the afterlife, Lara finds a gauntlet that belonged to Thor. With his full gear, she will be able to wield the hammer Mjolnir and use it to open the door to Niflheim, as the Norse call the afterlife and where her mother is. Amanda, to oppose Lara, finds and frees Jacqueline Natla, who creates another doppelganger that kills Alistair, one of Lara's friends. Lara obtains Mjolnir and opens the door to Niflheim, only to find her mother transform into a thrall. After ending her suffering, Natla reveals that she wanted Lara to open Niflheim to activate Jormungandr, a weapon that will destroy the world. Upon learning this, Amanda teams up with Lara to defeat Natla and the doppelganger and destroy Jormungandr. The former friends don't repair their friendship, but they bury the hatchet, and Lara finally accepts her mother's death. It turns out that the doppelganger and Natla survived. A badly wounded Natla orders the doppelganger to kill Lara and then commit suicide. But fortunately, Lara finds the magic word that grants control over creations like the doppelganger. With this word, Lara frees the doppelganger from having to obey anyone's orders. With this freedom, the doppelganger kills Natla as revenge for ordering her death. Some might think we're done, but there's still more. There are 2 more games to talk about, but they weren't Tomb Raider. They were called Lara Croft directly because they're very different. However, they're still Lara's adventures and worth including. Lara discovers the Mirror of Smoke, but taking it accidentally releases Sotatul, an ancient demon. It also frees Totek, the Guardian of Light, who is tasked with ensuring that Sotatul never causes harm again. They both face Sotatul and reseal him in the mirror. Totek agrees to be sealed as well, so he'll be there every time Sotatul is freed. I love saying that. Sotatul. Sotatul. Lara competes with a rookie young archaeologist, Carter Bell, to obtain the Staff of Osiris, but taking it once again frees Set. The staff also frees Horus and Isis, who team up with Lara and Carter to find Osiris' mummified remains. With these gathered remains, the group and Osiris confront Seth, sealing him once again. I hate to say it, in the last game of the timeline, but we wouldn't be able to realistically fit this one in. Seth was already unleashed in Last Revelation and trapped beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, so another relic capable of freeing him might not be entirely impossible, but what is impossible is that Last Revelation makes it clear that Horus exists in the cosmos as a god and is superior to Seth in power, whereas here he is, well, some dude, pretty disappointing. We can't realistically put Last Revelation and Temple of Osiris in the same timeline, but I didn't want to stop so close to the end. And now we have finally brought the unified Tomb Raider timeline to an end. This is the best way to bring together each and every one of Lara's adventures. The only thing is, you could argue that it's not a good idea for poor Lara to have to save the world in her 50s if you want to continue the timeline, but hey, there are alternatives. If they feel like it, they could shuffle things around a bit and have Lara be in her late 30s during Catalyst. Or the simpler solution that they will probably do. They'll just say everything happened without giving exact dates, so that the new unified Lara Croft can be whatever age they damn well please. Hey, they're the developers, they can do whatever they want. Maybe they shouldn't, but they can. However, as for the current exercise, as I've said, this is the best unification of all of Lara Croft's adventures. The only thing left would be the comics, which, hey, I love them, but most are little known and contradict what happens in the game, so they'd be a fucking fifth timeline. God, in this one, instead of Winston, Laura's butler is named Compton, and he ends up betraying her and becoming the villain of the story. That's all I have to say. I have nothing more to add. I really hope Catalyst and especially Legacy of Atlantis are good, so I can finally say Classic Lara is back. Till next time.